At the moment. I am a bit busy at the moment. In the end. Everything worked out fine in the end. On time. The meeting started exactly on time. In time. We arrived just in time for the show. Ahead of time. Please let us know ahead of time. Behind schedule. The construction is running behind schedule. On schedule. The train arrived right on schedule. From now on. From now on, I will be more careful. For the time being. Let's stay here for the time being. In the meantime. I'll make coffee in the meantime. At once. You must leave this place at once. Right away. I will finish this task right away. Sooner or later. Sooner or later, you will find out. In the long run. It will be beneficial in the long run. In no time. The ambulance arrived in no time. All day long. It has been raining all day long. From time to time. I visit my hometown from time to time. Once in a while. We go out for dinner once in a while. At times. At times, I feel like giving up. On occasion. I drink wine only on occasion. At the top of the hour. We have news at the top of the hour. In advance. You should book your tickets in advance. Ahead of schedule. The team finished the work ahead of schedule. At present. No further information is available at present. By the time. By the time I arrived, he was gone. For a while. I lived in London for a while. In the short term. This is a good plan in the short term. Up to now. Up to now, everything has been perfect. As of now. As of now, the deal is still on. At the same time. Don't all speak at the same time. In a flash. The thief disappeared in a flash. In the blink of an eye. Life can change in the blink of an eye. Around the clock. The hospital provides care around the clock. Day in and day out. He works hard day in and day out. For good. I have decided to stay here for good. In due course. You will receive an answer in due course. In retrospect. In retrospect, I made the right choice. On the spot. He was hired on the spot. At the last minute. He cancelled the meeting at the last minute. On short notice. Thank you for coming on short notice. In the nick of time. They saved him in the nick of time. For the rest of. I want to live here for the rest of my life. Since then. I haven't seen her since then. Until now. Until now, I thought he was honest. In the past. We had many problems in the past. In the future. I hope to travel more in the future. At any time. You can call me at any time. For ages. I haven't seen you for ages. Of late. I haven't been feeling well of late. In an instant. The building collapsed in an instant. At first. At first, I didn't like the idea. In the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens. At length. We discussed the matter at length. In the middle of. He woke up in the middle of the night. For a second. Please wait for a second. In a minute. I will be with you in a minute. By day. He works by day and studies by night. By night. The city looks beautiful by night. At dawn. We set off at dawn. At dusk. The birds return to their nests at dusk. On a regular basis. I exercise on a regular basis. From start to finish. I read the book from start to finish. Over time. People's opinions change over time. At the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's your choice. All of a sudden. All of a sudden, the lights went out. In the long term. We need a strategy in the long term. At this stage. It is too early to tell at this stage. For the moment. This is all we can do for the moment. At the moment. I am a bit busy at the moment. In the end. Everything worked out fine in the end. On time. The meeting started exactly on time. In time. We arrived just in time for the show. Ahead of time. Please let us know ahead of time. Behind schedule. The construction is running behind schedule. On schedule. The train arrived right on schedule. From now on. From now on, I will be more careful. For the time being. Let's stay here for the time being. In the meantime. I'll make coffee in the meantime. At once. You must leave this place at once. Right away. I will finish this task right away. Sooner or later. Sooner or later, you will find out. In the long run. It will be beneficial in the long run. In no time. The ambulance arrived in no time. All day long. It has been raining all day long. From time to time. I visit my hometown from time to time. Once in a while. We go out for dinner once in a while. At times. At times, I feel like giving up. On occasion. I drink wine only on occasion. At the top of the hour. We have news at the top of the hour. In advance. You should book your tickets in advance. Ahead of schedule. The team finished the work ahead of schedule. At present. No further information is available at present. By the time. By the time I arrived, he was gone. For a while. I lived in London for a while. In the short term. This is a good plan in the short term. Up to now. Up to now, everything has been perfect. As of now. As of now, the deal is still on. At the same time. Don't all speak at the same time. In a flash. The thief disappeared in a flash. In the blink of an eye. Life can change in the blink of an eye. Around the clock. The hospital provides care around the clock. Day in and day out. He works hard day in and day out. For good. I have decided to stay here for good. In due course. You will receive an answer in due course. In retrospect. In retrospect, I made the right choice. On the spot. He was hired on the spot. At the last minute. He cancelled the meeting at the last minute. On short notice. Thank you for coming on short notice. In the nick of time. They saved him in the nick of time. For the rest of. I want to live here for the rest of my life. Since then. I haven't seen her since then. Until now. Until now, I thought he was honest. In the past. We had many problems in the past. In the future. I hope to travel more in the future. At any time. You can call me at any time. For ages. I haven't seen you for ages. Of late. I haven't been feeling well of late. In an instant. The building collapsed in an instant. At first. At first, I didn't like the idea. In the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens. At length. We discussed the matter at length. In the middle of. He woke up in the middle of the night. For a second. Please wait for a second. In a minute. I will be with you in a minute. By day. He works by day and studies by night. By night. The city looks beautiful by night. At dawn. We set off at dawn. At dusk. The birds return to their nests at dusk. On a regular basis. I exercise on a regular basis. From start to finish. I read the book from start to finish. Over time. People's opinions change over time. At the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's your choice. All of a sudden. All of a sudden, the lights went out. In the long term. We need a strategy in the long term. At this stage. It is too early to tell at this stage. For the moment. This is all we can do for the moment. In a while. I'll see you in a while. Before long. Before long, she was fast asleep. On the double. Get over here on the double. At full speed. The project is moving at full speed. Up to date. Keep your software up to date. At a later date. The event will be held at a later date. From day to day. His health varies from day to day. Month after month. He waited for her month after month. Year after year. They returned to the same beach year after year. In the following days. The situation improved in the following days. At that time. I was living in New York at that time. By then. By then, the rain had stopped. Until then. Until then, we must wait patiently. For the duration. He stayed for the duration of the war. In anticipation of. We prepared in anticipation of the storm. Throughout the year. The park is open throughout the year. At all times. Please wear your seatbelt at all times. In recorded history. It was the hottest summer in recorded history. Of a lifetime. This is a chance of a lifetime. At intervals. The bell rings at intervals. In quick succession. 3 goals were scored in quick succession. For its time. He was quite famous for its time. At the age of. He started piano at the age of 5. By the end of. Finish the report by the end of the day. In mid-air. The birds caught the insect in mid-air. On the weekend. What do you do on the weekend? In the afternoon. I usually take a nap in the afternoon. At noon. We meet for lunch at noon. In the morning. I drink coffee in the morning. At night. The stars are bright at night. During the week. I work hard during the week. On a daily basis. We check the data on a daily basis. In person. I need to see you in person. By mistake. I took your umbrella by mistake. On purpose. She broke the vase on purpose. By chance. We met at the airport by chance. In private. Can we speak in private? In public. It is rude to yell in public. Under control. Everything is now under control. Out of control. The fire got out of control. In a row. He won 3 games in a row. In vain. All our efforts were in vain. At risk. Many lives were at risk. At ease. He felt at ease with his friends. On edge. I have been on edge all day. By any means. We must win by any means. By no means. This is by no means certain. In detail. Please explain the plan in detail. In general. In general, I like spicy food. In particular. I like this book in particular. On behalf of. I am writing on behalf of my boss. In charge of. She is in charge of the project. Under pressure. He works well under pressure. Out of order. The elevator is out of order. Out of stock. This item is currently out of stock. In stock. We have the latest model in stock. On sale. These shoes are on sale today. For sale. This house is for sale. By heart. I learned the poem by heart. In need. We should help those in need. At any cost. I will get that job at any cost. Without fail. I will be there without fail. In a hurry. Why are you in such a hurry? At a loss. I am at a loss for words. In common. They have a lot in common. On duty. The officer is on duty now. Off duty. I am off duty this weekend. In trouble. He is in trouble with the law. At peace. The country is finally at peace. In harmony. We should live in harmony with nature. By force. They took the castle by force. In fashion. Short hair is in fashion again. Out of fashion. This style is out of fashion. At war. The two nations are at war. In focus. The picture is perfectly in focus. Out of focus. Your face is out of focus. In debt. He is deeply in debt. On loan. This book is on loan from the library. By hand. This sweater was made by hand. In demand. Skilled workers are in demand. At a glance. I knew the truth at a glance. In ruins. The old city lies in ruins. On foot. We went to the park on foot. By air. It is faster to travel by air. In writing. Put your request in writing. By design. The system was broken by design. In error. The money was sent in error. At stake. My reputation is at stake. In favor of. I am in favor of the new rule. In honor of. This statue is in honor of the king. Out of reach. Keep it out of reach of children. Within reach. The goal is now within reach. In disguise. He was a prince in disguise. On a diet. I am on a diet these days. In fear. They lived in fear of the enemy. From a distance. I watched them from a distance. A mess. My room is a mess. On fire. The house is on fire. In secret. They met in secret at night. By nature. He is very shy by nature. In brief. Let me tell you the story in brief. Under construction. The road is under construction. Out of work. Many people are out of work. In love. They are deeply in love. At random. I picked a book at random. On strike. The workers are on strike. In sight. The finish line is in sight. Out of sight. The car is out of sight now. On average. I work 8 hours on average. In conclusion. In conclusion, we need to act now. By law. You must wear a helmet by law. Under repair. The bridge is under repair. In practice. The idea sounds good in practice. In theory. In theory, it should work fine. At fault. I was at fault for the accident. In shape. I exercise to stay in shape. Out of shape. I feel so out of shape lately. On business. He is in London on business. For pleasure. I read books for pleasure. In panic. Everyone ran out in panic. By accident. I found the keys by accident. On good terms. I am on good terms with my neighbors. At odds. The two reports are at odds. In moderation. You should drink in moderation. Under a spell. She acted as if under a spell. In custody. The suspect is in custody. On thin ice. You are on thin ice with me. Out of breath. I was out of breath after the run. In total. There were 20 people in total. At the expense of. He succeeded at the expense of his health. Under the weather. I am feeling a bit under the weather. In a nutshell. This is the plan in a nutshell. According to the news, it will rain. In terms of, the car is great in terms of speed. Regardless of, we will go regardless of the weather. Instead of, use honey instead of sugar. In addition to music, he likes art. Due to, the delay was due to heavy traffic. Thanks to, I passed the exam thanks to you. Apart from the cost, it is perfect. As for the price, it is very high. In spite of, he went out in spite of the rain. On top of, he lost his job on top of his illness. In contrast to his brother, he is shy. As a result of, he failed as a result of his laziness. In light of new facts, we changed our mind. With respect to, I have no news with respect to the plan. By means of, he escaped by means of a rope. In accordance with, do everything in accordance with the rules. On the basis of, we chose him on the basis of his skills. With regard to, I have a question with regard to your report. In return for, I gave him a gift in return for his help. In exchange for, I gave him my pen in exchange for his. At any rate, we must finish this today. To some extent. I agree with you to some extent. For the sake of, do it for the sake of your health. In relation to, I have questions in relation to the case. In place of, he used a stone in place of a hammer. By virtue of, he won by virtue of his hard work. Except for, the room was empty except for a chair. In comparison with, it is small in comparison with the sun. On the part of, it was a mistake on the part of the staff. With the exception of, everyone came with the exception of John. In response to, I am writing in response to your email. As opposed to, we prefer quality as opposed to quantity. In the event of fire, use the stairs. By way of, we traveled to Rome by way of Paris. In connection with, he was arrested in connection with the theft. With a view to, he studied hard with a view to becoming a doctor. For fear of, he stayed inside for fear of getting sick. In excess of, the speed was in excess of 100 miles per hour. On the grounds of, he resigned on the grounds of ill health. In compliance with, the building is in compliance with the law. With an eye to, he saved money with an eye to the future. At the risk of, he saved the child at the risk of his life. In proportion to, your pay is in proportion to your work. In quest of, they traveled in quest of gold. Under the guise of, he acted under the guise of friendship. By no means. It is by no means a simple problem. In the face of, he smiled in the face of danger. In view of the weather, we stayed home. Along with, please bring the files along with the report. Contrary to expectations, the team won. Irrespective of, the fee is the same irrespective of age. Relative to, the costs are high relative to the income. On account of, the game was cancelled on account of rain. But for your help, I would have failed. As to, I have no information as to his location. In search of, they went to the forest in search of food. At the mercy of, the ship was at the mercy of the storm. In support of, many people spoke in support of the plan. With the help of, I finished the work with the help of friends. In aid of, the concert was held in aid of the poor. By dint of, He succeeded by dint of great effort. In memory of. The library was built in memory of him. On the brink of. The company is on the brink of ruin. At variance with. His actions are at variance with his words. Subject to. The schedule is subject to change. For the purpose of. I came here for the purpose of meeting you. In defense of. He spoke in defense of his friend. With reference to. I am writing with reference to your ad. On the subject of. He lectured on the subject of art. In sympathy with. He acted in sympathy with the victims. At the cost of. He gained power at the cost of his soul. In common with. In common with many others, I hate cold. By reason of. He was exempted by reason of his age. Independent of. The two studies are independent of each other. In opposition to. He voted in opposition to the new tax. In association with. We are working in association with them. As a consequence of. He grew rich as a consequence of the deal. In conjunction with. Use this cream in conjunction with the pills. Under the pretext of. He left under the pretext of being sick. In pursuit of. He spent his life in pursuit of truth. For the benefit of. The money was for the benefit of children. At the hands of. He suffered much at the hands of his enemy. In the name of. Stop in the name of the law. On the verge of. She was on the verge of tears. In keeping with. The furniture is in keeping with the house. To the point of. He was tired to the point of collapse. With intent to. He was arrested with intent to steal. At the point of. He was at the point of death. In compensation for. He got money in compensation for the injury. On the strength of. He got the job on the strength of your letter. In league with. He was in league with the rebels. At the behest of. He did it at the behest of his wife. In step with. We must stay in step with the times. Out of keeping with. The noise was out of keeping with the place. At the threshold of. We are at the threshold of a new era. In disagreement with. I am in disagreement with the decision. In the wake of. The storm left ruin in its wake. In the middle of. He stood in the middle of the room. On the roof. The cat is sitting on the roof. At the bottom of. The keys are at the bottom of the bag. In front of. Wait for me in front of the gate. In back of. The garden is in back of the house. Next to. She sat next to me during the flight. Out of town. I will be out of town next week. Under the sun. There is nothing new under the sun. Within walking distance. The school is within walking distance. In the vicinity of. There is a bank in the vicinity of the station. At the corner of. The shop is at the corner of the street. On the outskirts of. They live on the outskirts of the city. In the background. You can see mountains in the background. In the foreground. The flowers are in the foreground of the photo. On the horizon. A large ship appeared on the horizon. Across the board. The company gave raises across the board. Within the limits of. Stay within the limits of the city. Out of reach. Put the medicine out of reach of kids. Beyond the reach of. The truth is beyond the reach of science. Under the circumstances. We did our best under the circumstances. In the neighborhood of. The price is in the neighborhood of $10. At the center of. She was at the center of attention. On the edge of. The glass is on the edge of the table. In the heart of. The hotel is in the heart of London. Under one's nose. The answer was right under my nose. Out of place. This chair looks out of place here. In place. Everything for the party is now in place. On the spot. I had to make a decision on the spot. At a distance. He kept everyone at a distance. From afar. I have always admired her from afar. On the left. The library will be on the left side. In the area. There are no good restaurants in the area. At the scene. Police arrived at the scene quickly. On the scene. A new doctor is now on the scene. In the distance. I could see a faint light in the distance. All over the place. Your clothes are all over the place. Out of the way. Please move the bike out of the way. In every corner. We searched for the cat in every corner. On the road. We have been on the road for 5 hours. At the crossroads. The company is at the crossroads of its future. In the shade. Let's sit in the shade of the tree. In the sun. Don't leave the milk out in the sun. Under one's roof. You must follow my rules under my roof. Behind bars. The thief will spend years behind bars. On the premises. Smoking is not allowed on the premises. At the end of the line. I am at the end of the line. In high places. He has friends in high places. Off the beaten track. We found a small cafe off the beaten track. In the long run. Exercise will help you in the long run. Within sight. The harbor was finally within sight. On solid ground. Our plan is now on solid ground. Under the radar. They tried to keep the project under the radar. In the spotlight. She loves being in the spotlight. Out in the open. We should discuss this out in the open. At the forefront. He is at the forefront of medical research. In a tight spot. I am in a bit of a tight spot right now. On the map. This festival put the town on the map. Off the map. This island is nearly off the map. Behind the scenes. Much work goes on behind the scenes. In the wild. Animals are best observed in the wild. Under the table. He was paid extra money under the table. On the floor. The senator stood to speak on the floor. At close range. The eagle was photographed at close range. Within earshot. Stay within earshot in case I call you. Out of the blue. He called me out of the blue today. In the dark. I am completely in the dark about the news. Into thin air. The ghost vanished into thin air. At sea. I am all at sea with these new instructions. In the air. There is a sense of excitement in the air. Under one's wing. The senior manager took her under his wing. On neutral ground. Let's meet on neutral ground for the talk. In the driver's seat. He is finally in the driver's seat of the project. At your doorstep. Success is waiting at your doorstep. Within reach of. The remote is within reach of the sofa. Beyond the horizon. There are new worlds beyond the horizon. In deep water. He is in deep water with his debts. On a slippery slope. Taking that bribe is on a slippery slope. At the top of. I waited at the top of the stairs. In the fast lane. She is living life in the fast lane. Under wraps. The secret project is still under wraps. On the flip side. On the flip side, the price is much lower. In the ballpark. Your guess is in the ballpark of the cost. At every turn. We faced new challenges at every turn. On common ground. We finally met on common ground. In a row. They sat in a row at the cinema. Out of the loop. I feel out of the loop since my vacation. In the loop. Please keep me in the loop regarding the deal. At all levels. Change is needed at all levels of the firm. On the side. He works as a waiter on the side. In close proximity. The two buildings are in close proximity. Under the influence. He was arrested for driving under the influence. At the bottom of the ladder. He started at the bottom of the ladder. On the level. I promise you that this deal is on the level. In the picture. Now that I know the facts, I am in the picture. Out of the picture. He has been out of the picture for years. At the peak of. She is at the peak of her career. On the fringe. They live on the fringe of society. Within the framework of. We work within the framework of the law. In orbit. The satellite is now in orbit around the Earth. At a standstill. Traffic was at a standstill for an hour. As a rule. As a rule, I don't eat after 8 p.m. In a sense. In a sense, you are right about him. To a certain extent. I agree with you to a certain extent. By and large. By and large, the project was a success. In name only. He is the leader in name only. Out of curiosity. I asked the question out of curiosity. For a change. Let's eat out tonight for a change. At all costs. We must protect the environment at all costs. On the whole. On the whole, the weather was quite good. In the long run. It will save us money in the long run. At any rate. At any rate, I will be there tomorrow. In short. In short, we need more time and money. For example. Take, for example, the cost of living here. In fact. In fact, I have never been to Paris. On average. On average, I drink 2 liters of water a day. By far. This is by far the best movie of the year. In detail. She described The Thief in detail. At length. We talked at length about our future plans. In general. In general, people are very friendly here. In particular. I like this painting in particular. Out of the question. Going on vacation now is out of the question. In the same boat. We are all in the same boat now. On second thought. On second thought, I'll have the tea. In other words. In other words, you are fired. For good. He has left the country for good. At best. At best, we can finish the work by Friday. At worst. At worst, the company might go bankrupt. By the way. By the way, have you seen my keys? In conclusion. In conclusion, I would like to thank you all. For sure. I don't know for sure if she's coming. On demand. You can watch the movie on demand. In bulk. It is cheaper to buy rice in bulk. At once. The 2 ideas came to me at once. One by one. The students entered the room one by one. Step by step. We followed the instructions step by step. By means of. He explained it by means of a diagram. In accordance with. The price was set in accordance with the law. With ease. She passed the difficult test with ease. With difficulty. He climbed the mountain with difficulty. In return. I helped him and he gave me a gift in return. On the contrary. I am not tired, on the contrary, I am full of energy. In fashion. Blue is in fashion this summer. Out of date. This map is completely out of date. Up to date. Keep your records up to date. In honor of. The party is in honor of his retirement. In memory of. We planted a tree in memory of our dog. For real. I am not joking, this is for real. In practice. The rule is very hard to follow in practice. In theory. In theory, the machine should work forever. By nature. Some people are very generous by nature. Against all odds. He recovered from the illness against all odds. Behind the times. His teaching methods are a bit behind the times. Beyond belief. The beauty of the place was beyond belief. By definition. A bachelor is, by definition, an unmarried man. For the most part. The work is finished, for the most part. In a way. In a way, I am glad you failed. In cold blood. The murder was committed in cold blood. In common. We have many interests in common. In demand. Organic vegetables are in demand now. In no time. I'll be back in no time. Out of order. The vending machine is out of order. Out of tune. The piano sounds a bit out of tune. Under a cloud. He left the company under a cloud of suspicion. Under no circumstances. Under no circumstances should you open the door. Within reason. You can buy whatever you want, within reason. Without a doubt. He is without a doubt the best player. At a discount. You can buy the tickets at a discount. At a profit. He sold his house at a profit. At a loss. The business is currently operating at a loss. By heart. I know all the lyrics by heart. For sale. This beautiful painting is for sale. On sale. All winter coats are on sale now. In writing. I need the agreement in writing. On paper. The team looks strong on paper. Out of hand. The situation quickly got out of hand. Under pressure. She performs her best under pressure. At random. The winner was chosen at random. In sight. There is no solution in sight yet. Out of sight. The sun went out of sight behind the clouds. In high spirits. The team was in high spirits after the win. In low spirits. He has been in low spirits since the news. By all means. By all means, take as much as you need. By no means. It was by no means an easy task. In the light of. In the light of the report, we need a change. On the air. The show will be on the air at 8 p.m. Off the air. The radio station went off the air. In the dark. We were kept in the dark about the merger. At your service. I am always at your service. For the record. For the record, I was against the plan. In person. You must apply for the passport in person. Out of pocket. I paid $100 out of pocket. Under repair. My car is currently under repair. On schedule. The flight is departing on schedule. Behind schedule. We are 2 weeks behind schedule. Ahead of schedule. The work was finished ahead of schedule. In touch. Let's stay in touch after you move. Out of touch. I have been out of touch with him for years. In short supply. Fresh water is in short supply. At any cost. We must win the race at any cost. In a nutshell. That's our strategy in a nutshell.